mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. You know I be on a what? Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. It's all hard, ain't no fear.
Welcome to another episode of Ride the Rebellion podcast. I am here with you. My name is Drew, and with me is the king of the South Alabama Turndown.
What's up? And we're not doing any Ohio stuff today.
You're not going to say your name, are you?
Buckeyes. I'm Dale.
I'm Dale.
Hey, listen, we listened to this podcast.
That was very Alabama of you.
It was very Alabama. Roll Tide.
Either way, whatever makes you happy.
Hey, we listened to this podcast with my wife, and she was like, oh, so that means I'm going to have to make Drew some Buckeyes and bring him to the podcast?
Yes.
I was like, yeah. She goes, well, it's not that time of season, so you got to wait till it's Buckeye season.
That's fine. I need to lose some weight ahead of that because I'll eat them all.
Well, no.
At one fell
She's going to
swoop.
make them for Skyway next week. Remember? 27 in my pocket.
I thought if you do that, that's going to be a delightful experience. I was going to make a lewd remark, but I'm not. We've got our very first guest in the chair. Our very first guest is here, world famous, though he doesn't know that. John Mackey, sitting in the hot seat. John, how are you?
I'm doing good.
And that's the extent of John's interview.
Thank you,
Thanks.
everybody.
I'll see myself out.
Yeah, he was ready. That was all he wanted to do right there.
That's it. That's as far as it goes. So this episode, as all of our episodes, is kind of like, I think, being the Zero Drop podcast, that being what we are, or what we claim to be, the world's first and only best Zero Drop podcast. I will say that one thing that we do, our approach to this podcast has been the same since day one, which is just podcast. We don't really think about what we're doing. We just kind of roll into it with a half-ass agenda at play and go from there.
No, that makes it more real. It makes
Right,
it like,
that's what I'm saying.
I mean, we started this. Sorry for the background noise. We started this.
Dale's having a soda.
A
barley pop.
Barley pop. So we started this because we said, how cool would it be if we just recorded our conversations because we think we're really cool when we talk. And then here we are.
Fair assessment.
And we think
Fair assessment.
Like, because how many conversations do we have, or John, you and I have, or Drew, you and I have, that it's like, man, if other people, to repeat that conversation to people we thought was really hilarious, it doesn't hit as hard the second time. But if they could hear it firsthand, and that's what this is, because there's no agenda. Second hand, first hand, third. What is it?
We're shameless that way.
Yeah.
And I know that last week we promised that I was going to give away some pedals, but I'm not ready to do that yet because I have something better to me than pedals.
To everyone.
And we'll get to that later on in the show. So there is a prize. It's right here. It'll make a sound.
It's a maraca.
It's a maraca.
Happy maraca.
Yeah, I'm clearing out my baby stuff, and you guys get one of my baby maracas. No, we do have something here we're very excited about bringing into play. But what I was going to kind of jump into is you guys kind of got to have an experience a little bit different. So I've worked in my industry, the film industry, for a long time, and there are quite a number of conventions that I've been to. I've been to NAB, which the best time I ever went to NAB, they were also doing the AVNs at the exact same time. If you don't know what that is, that's
Hopefully
the adult video news.
You didn't get any STDs at the ABV,
correct.
DVD,
Yeah.
AVB.
I went to NAB, got an STD from the AVNs. And now I don't know what a divorced dad is. I'm a DD. No, I'm just kidding. But it was true. And so as I was walking around, I got it was like 2 steps away. I just went down one other hall and I was like, man, the NAB is getting a little raunchy this year. And then all of a sudden there were sex demonstrations and there were boobs and I was like, this is crazy. So now I'm walking through a whole separate situation.
Whoa.
There were toys. I didn't know what they did. And then someone yelled out what they did. And then I was very uncomfortable. And I stuck around a little too long.
DVDA, son. It's the only way
It
I
was
stay in
free.
business.
It was free. It was all free.
Man.
So anyway, I've been to that convention. I've been to film festivals. I've been to all that stuff. But I've been to Comic-Cons where people dress up, which
I've never been, by the way. Just throwing
Dale's
that out.
people would judge it and be harsh. My people celebrate it, and now we're the kings of the universe. So I'm just saying you should probably put on some weird... We could dress you up as something. I'm sure there's somebody listening to this podcast that'll cosplay with you.
Oh, that's so creepy.
You could be Master Blaster.
If you're listening to this podcast...
And we can put just a small person on your shoulders, one of your kids. It'd be amazing. See, John watches enough sci-fi. He got that reference. It's a Mad Max reference, bro.
Right.
All right. I'll go with the Mad Max stuff, but There's a limit to my cosplay.
There's a limit to Dale's cosplay. There's no limit.
I don't know. I don't know. It's pushing it. And if you're listening to this and you want to play cosplay with me, we need to reevaluate
It's not
your life.
playing. It's not playing cosplay.
Whatever.
You just-
We need to
It's
reevaluate
amazing.
your life's decisions.
So anyway, I've been to all kinds of stuff, but I'm gonna be honest with you. You guys went to a mountain bike convention.
Oh, dude.
Which listen, I understand our sport. But if you came up to me and like, hey, I'm going to go to Dragon Con, I'm like, awesome. That's totally respectable. Big con. You're going to Comic Con, San Diego? Good for you. Oh, you're going to New York because you like toys? I understand all these and they all make sense because it just says Comic Con and it sounds okay. Oh, you're going to the NABs. You're going to go buy some new film equipment. You're looking at that stuff. But if you walk up to me and you're like, oh, yes, we're headed down to a mountain bike convention, I'm going to be honest with you. You sound worse than my people.
Yeah, but I don't know that I even approached it that we're going to a convention of mountain bike. I said, John, let's go ride our bikes in Tallahassee.
We went to go ride.
And then we're going to stay at this hotel where there's this event going on. Maybe
Right.
we'll see it. Maybe we won't. Let's go ride our bikes and drink beer.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah,
I mean,
let's go.
what was the real objective of the convention? Let's start with that.
We actually, I told John he could come on just to do this with me, to echo
He's
my
verification.
thoughts. Yeah, just so he can
And
verify.
witness.
Credibility. He's my credibility partner. And actually, there's some...
Wait, credibility. He's your credibility.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of things. We'll discuss a lot that happened this weekend.
Yeah.
Some we won't.
Yeah, understood.
But needless to say, what it was it was the Sorba Summit,
Right.
which is the South Off-Road Mountain Bike or Bike Association. And they have a summit for all of their chapters, and I'm on the board of our local chapter. So I got to represent our chapter there, and John graciously came with me because I needed somebody as a wingman.
Accountability buddy.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Accountability
Right.
buddy.
I didn't want to ride to the breweries alone.
Yeah, I
That's
get
what
it.
it was.
get
So we show up. It was cool. I went to about half of 2 convention things.
Jesus.
I did what I was supposed to do while I was there, and about, I don't know, every hour I'd text John and be like, you ready to ride? Let's go.
Right.
And he would get his stuff together and meet me outside, and we'd ride.
So of the two things because obviously most people go to conventions and it's the exact same thing, whether it's nerds or bikes. It ends up in debauchery somewhere down the road. We'll get to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were the 2 halves of a whole? You had to go to you went to 2 meetings?
Yeah, so I went to one that was the board meeting for Sorba. Because we are a chapter of Sorba, we have a spot on their board as well. So we had to vote for things. There was no votes, but they just give us the rundown of their organization as a whole since we're a chapter of it. I sat through, I actually enjoyed thoroughly. It was Emba Trail Solutions, Steve, that did his presentations. And I got to learn some stuff about trail building that I can bring back to the Reb with us. So that was pretty awesome, and I learned that maybe all of our trails are fucked, but we'll figure it out.
We still ride them.
Yeah, we still ride them. They're not high traffic. They're not high traffic like what he's building on.
Right.
Or like, we can fix them. They're not too fucked. We can fix them. So
I'm kind of curious to see what that kind of stuff is.
Yeah, it was cool. It was kind of like the 50% rule, like not building up 50% of the grade, kind of go across the hill instead of straight down it. Like all of ours are straight down.
Some of ours.
No, I don't think ours are that bad. I'm just saying it was
No, Run
enlightening.
DMC is straight down the hill.
Oh, yeah, and I
mean,
built
it's
that.
literally you got to the edge and you're like, this looks fast. Let's go.
Yeah, right. And that
So what you're saying is Jakey Poo's building method.
is
Shout out to Jakey Poo who doesn't listen to this. Is half accurate because he wants to go straight downhill, and then when he tells me when I'm building, he's like, "Make sure you're going across."
Yeah, right.
Because he's like, "I'll never ride your trails. I'm only going to ride these 3 trails."
And I mean, I got a lot from it. What I could understand. He's a civil engineer. Steve is so. Like I'm not picking up everything he's putting down. I mean, I'm sure I could reach out and get the slides and study.
So it's more
further.
technical though.
Oh, it's super technical. I mean, what he's doing is pulling permits, and he's doing it all. Legit. Everything is environmentally safe and things like that, which is pretty dope. I mean, I'd love to be more environmentally friendly. So those are the convention parts that I sat through. I enjoyed. The other stuff was about U.S. Forest Service things and risk management, and I mean, I'm not really into that stuff, so I just go ride my bike.
We have our own. Those are probably things I would have. If I had been there, I would have liked the trail stuff, but then the risk management would have put because you guys again. Shout out to Jakey Poo for dealing with me. Jake is married, and then I'm like his other wife because I'm constantly like, dude, I just don't know if this is a good idea. We can't set up the Reb this way. And I'm doing all this legal stuff out of risk management, fear, and all that.
Right.
Probably good that I didn't hear any of that. I'd rather just be blind to it all.
Yeah, because it's like if it's not written down, it's not covered. So we were at the pump track, and someone made a joke, and John, you could say this too. Maybe you heard him, but somebody stepped off of the edge of the pump track and like fell off on they were on their bike, and they like tripped, and everybody's like, "Oh, you can sue them. That's not in writing. They have to have that covered. Like, be careful on the step on the pump track."
Oh, that's right. Yeah, there's no signage for that drop off.
Yeah,
Signage for that drop off. That's terrible.
Yeah, so it was stuff like that, and I mean, it was laughable. We just laughed about it, like we're on a pump track, like you fell off a ledge, like be better.
Yeah.
But so that was the official stuff that we did, and we had to do. But literally, and I told John this on the way there, and he could vouch. I said, I'm only going for 2 reasons. To spread the word of the Sweet Potatoes and the Ride the Rebellion podcast. Yeah. And that's all I did, right?
I would say mission accomplished.
Yeah. Like I told one of the loudest dudes, there's a guy we met, Nixon. Shout out Nixon if you're listening. I hope you are. He's sponsored by Cannondale. Been sponsored since 2000. So he kind of threw us into the fold. He's a local Tallahassean, and he was leading the group rides Friday night, and he's likable, so everybody listens to him.
Right.
He was yelling like, "Have you guys heard of the Sweet Potatoes? Well, here they are. You know, like they're right here. They have their own podcast." Like
that's great.
Just going with it, telling everybody. So by Saturday night, we're at the brewery, and some dude's giving away T-shirts, and I walk over, get a T-shirt, and he looks up, and he's like, "Oh, hey, are you the guy from Alabama that has a podcast?" I was like, "Yeah. Why? What'd I do?" And he was like, "Oh no, man, word just travels fast. Like, keep killing it. It's awesome. Thanks."
Oh, that's great.
I'm like, so it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I told everybody so much. And tell them what you said about the Wikipedia. At the bar, you were like, "Hey, we need to get a Wikipedia?"
Oh yeah, we need to get our own Wikipedia page.
Because I could have just linked them to it instead of having to repeat myself 100 times. Like, "Hey, do you have your phone?"
Yeah, but
you just keep repeating the same spiel over and over
But that's
again.
a marketing opportunity.
Yeah.
And the bigger key is people want to be part of something.
Right.
So then what I would say going forward is you're like, "Oh, well, you had to have been there."
Right. Well,
and it's like either you know or you don't. You know, it's one of those kind of things you just reel them in.
Yeah, the intrigue grows further. And this Brent, his name was Brent, right? Books that sat beside us a lot.
Oh, from
Aniston.
Aniston, yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of quiet, and we liked him. He was awesome, hanging out with him all weekend. But he had to hear the spiel so many times because he was beside me when everyone would ask.
Oh, right.
And so I told him, I was like, "You want to take this one?" Like a couple times, and he's like, "No, man, I just listen, so I make sure you're not lying." And every time the story's the same, and I was like, "No, man, it's gonna be the same every time." And the greatest part is, we met some really, really awesome people. So anywhere we want to ride, basically throughout the South, we got somebody.
See, that's the bigger takeaway. Is like, to me, like conventions in a lot of ways are like going to college, right? You might go to college to get a degree or whatever, but the reality of it is most people I know, they benefit best. I mean, if you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer, you have to have it. But most people go to college, they benefit the most from the relationships they formed, at least in my industry. So a lot of people go to film school, they waste all that money on film school, but it's only because they're in class with Ryan Johnson, the guy who directs all these huge movies, and he was the DP on the short film, and now he gets brought. It's that kind of thing. It's making those connections on that side of it, and that's where cons are the same way. So essentially, you get to go to a con, you learn some shit you don't care about, just like college, and then you really just party and meet some people and make connections.
And you really don't know how many people I just held down and told the story to, whether they wanted to hear it or not.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like I was shamelessly just on
You're a big enough dude, you could have blocked the doorway and been like, now you sound like a Mormon. Have you heard about our Lord and Savior, Sweet Potato?
Yeah, that's kind of what it was. We took over the Sorba convention. We even bought a buffet of appetizers for Saturday night.
Did they have sweet potato fries?
No.
Man, that would have been just too appropriate.
It would have been. But it was good. We even met another group like us. They're called the Rotten Riders. They got a cease and desist letter from Rolls Royce though, so they're a little bit above us.
Why is it?
Their logo looks like the Rolls Royce logo.
Oh, you're kidding me!
And they got a cease and desist letter from Rolls Royce.
Incredible. That's like dream stuff, especially like if you're an old skater punk or any of that kind of stuff. Like that's the old school rebel stuff.
Pretty sure old Garth was. Some part of the skater. He might have started it back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, he's probably like a flatlander. He's probably a clunk. Was he old enough to be a clunker guy?
I think so. Yeah.
No joke.
Yeah.
He
could have been.
He was
for
old.
sure. He wasn't even staying in the hotel. He was dirtbagging it in the parking lot.
Hardcore parkour. That's amazing.
He was awesome. He was who we aspire to be someday. Like our fucks have just been all given out.
Yeah, that bucket is completely empty.
Yeah,
Like
he just to the point where he dropped his towel in the middle of the parking lot and helicoptered the whole thing
Good God.
at 4 in the morning.
Yep.
And his balls make a bat signal in the shadow. So I was like, "Oh my God, the Batman's coming! Careful, everybody, to your places."
Comic
Con, don't do that. We
no,
had Batman.
no, they don't do that. They're furries. At
No, we had
Comic-Con.
the real Batman.
Yeah.
Ball man.
Ball man, just inverted. I assume that there was a mostly contingent of dudes. It was a sausage party, fair to say.
Oh,
yeah, for sure.
Which
There's no hesitation on that
Well,
one.
what was
Yeah.
awesome about it was besides the fact of it was all mountain biking like-minded people. We didn't know anybody. John and I knew literally no one going there, so we didn't talk to anybody. We kind of did our own thing. We went and rode the Tom Brown trail system by ourselves. Didn't know where we were going. Nixon actually hooked us up with the super secret local route, which was like an urban trail system from the hotel,
Oh,
past
nice.
the hobos,
Yeah.
past the carts. Like you go in behind Kohl's, and then you go behind Publix, and like it was dope. That was my favorite part
Oh,
about
that
it
was
because
really
it was
cool.
like what we do, kind of like the urban stuff.
Right.
And so we did that all the way to Tom Brown. We didn't know where we were going. We just like John goes, "Let's go over this hill." You go over this hill, and it's like kudzu is just out there, and it's like, oh, like
Right.
dirt jump flow track,
Yeah.
and it was
Oh, so it was good stuff. Like the riding out there is good.
Yeah.
oh yeah, and
Really
they
nice
like
trails.
use what's there. There was like a house foundation, and you jump off of it and keep
Right.
going, and there was a culvert that I rode over that was
Yeah.
pretty dope, and a lot of stuff like that. So what we did was we just went on our own, and then we went to the group ride again at Munson. Was another trail. We ended up riding 25 or 30 miles Friday.
Mm-hmm.
The Munson trails are just like the Bethel trails that we have in
Oh, nice.
Mississippi.
Yeah, shout out to Bethel.
Yeah, shout out Bethel. But if I ever have to go back to either one, I'm good.
Taint busters, bro.
Yeah, man. So we decided to go with the fast group. There was 40 people at the group ride at every bit of. I was like, let's just go with the fast group. I'm on a 35-pound heavy bike. It's cool. Let's go. So the dude leads us. We did 15 miles in an hour and 3 minutes. So
Oh, pumping.
yes,
Yeah.
and
So-
on trails.
Good,
So
good XC games.
we got done, and I was like, I just need beer. So we just went home, took showers at the hotel,
Right.
went to the brewery, hung out the brewery, met the local bike shop owner, Jimmy, that owns Epic Bikes. Shout out to Jimmy. We'll
Yeah.
just give everybody drops here.
Yeah, whatever.
Talked to him for a while, met some other people. Then we just were like, let's go back to the bar at the hotel. Well, it's really weird. I told John this a few times this weekend. It's crazy how like-minded and people you would want to hang out with end up in the same spots.
Right.
So like we go back to the hotel bar and like our people were there.
Right,
Like
right.
they all just showed up and it was like dudes we got along with and relayed with. Like it was awesome. And they didn't know each other before this week either. So they were all there was a couple of dudes that were like best buddies. And I would have
Yeah.
thought they
I
came
thought
together.
they were. Yeah.
Like not
They just seem like brothers practically.
Yeah, they were like brothers. Like,
Yeah, that's
They had
wild.
only known each other for 2 days.
So that was pretty sweet. Getting that, and then the next day we did the whole thing over again. John and I decided, let's go to the pump track. Okay, so we show up at the pump track by ourselves, doing our own thing.
And it was a paved track, too.
Yeah, it was
paved
paved pump
Nice.
track, beautiful.
That's a big deal because the ones I've ridden were dirt and they had just not necessarily been abandoned, but the upkeep wasn't great. And it really makes a difference when you might be able to pump okay, you'll get through a few, but you hit those berms and they're just degraded down to nothing and you
Yeah.
just fly off the track. It's not a lot of fun,
I
trust
think
me.
it's impossible to have unless you have a full-time somebody taking care of it. Asphalt's the way to go, especially
Yeah,
where
you
we
got to.
live. The Gulf Coast can't
Yeah,
handle
all
it.
the
Even
rain, all the
Steve,
rain.
Just during
Yeah.
the summer, though, it would be so brutal. So
Oh,
hot
yeah.
coming off that asphalt, you'd be cooking eggs.
that one was in the shade though, right? A little bit, kind of ish, maybe edge of it.
Edges. Yeah.
They had girls pump it. There were girls on skateboards there. There was a dude on a skateboard just shredding that thing. It was good.
That's great.
It was crazy. There was like
That's a college town, though, right?
There's like-
so,
Yeah.
I mean, you go to Tallahassee and you're going to get a little more energy than what a city like Mobile could bring, or even some larger cities don't even have that kind of stuff. But you get college towns, at least they're more progressive. They're going to push that. You're going to have kids
Yeah.
out there doing it, and they're poor, so it gives them something to do. Like most mountain bikers, but whatever.
Yeah,
Did
there
they
was
kick
like-
you off when they saw you?
no, there was like 30 or 40 of us. Not 30 or 40. I'd say 20.
20.
How about 20? There was
Yeah.
20 of us from the convention. Well, that's what I was getting ready to say. We go there by ourselves. All of our people that we partied with the night before just show up.
Right.
And we didn't tell anybody. It was
Right.
like one car after another, like, dude, you're here. Oh my God. Everybody just showed up. And like our people were already drinking beer there.
Right.
Because that's our people.
Right.
So then we went to the brewery and drank more, and then came back and
Everybody
the party
met back up again.
and the party didn't stop till Sunday morning about 5 a.m.
That's brutal.
Oh man, it was 12 hours of drinking.
I can't handle that.
We went to bed when we started talking to the
That's
Walmart
college
boys.
town stuff right there. You
Man.
guys just living them college days.
Living on a prayer.
Nope. Can't handle that.
So yeah, it was awesome, and for somebody like me that doesn't shut up and likes to talk, it was perfect.
So let me ask this from a perspective of like going to a convention, is it something that I don't know what the cost on all that is. I guess do as an IMBA member or whatever, since I'm IMBA person, do I get to go to that? I have to pay, but am I invited to that kind of scenario?
Yeah.
So it's anybody
Yeah.
that's an IMBA member.
Yeah,
can go.
you could go and just pay for whatever workshops you wanted to go to. I had that option. I just didn't do
Nothing
it.
really stood out to you on that side of it.
Just in case you're listening,
Yeah.
Sorba, John didn't pay for anything and went to the brewery socials for free.
Hey, why are you telling on him?
No, I
He's
didn't.
like-
No, I
was
didn't.
like,
His name is John.
I didn't.
M.
I didn't ask for anything that I did not deserve.
No, John was just standing there, and they gave him tickets, and I was like, just
Maybe it's because he's
Well,
so
my-
quiet. And
My rule was just I'm not going to ask for anything, but if they hand it to me,
I think that's pretty fair.
that was awesome. Yeah,
I think it's pretty fair.
he got more free beers than I did, I think.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the beers got freer the more.
yeah, the
later the night went.
deeper into
That's
the
how
night.
it always goes.
Yeah,
That's anywhere. That's anything,
Yeah,
right? You just get a bunch of people, like-minded people, and after a while, it's just as like, yeah, we don't even remember what we started at, but we're here
Right.
now. 26 cans
well,
later each.
and that's what I always said too. It's like I've never been around any mountain bikers that are like, no, you can't ride with us, or no, you can't drink with us.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you're inviting them to come. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. That's why when I emailed Philip and asked him if you could get an extra ticket or whatever, he's like, oh yeah, just show up.
Yeah.
We'll be all right.
Yeah. And that's the kind of thing, it goes back to what we've talked about a lot, which is that concept of community and kind of tying it all together
Yeah.
and linking it up and really just having, in some ways, having enough confidence, right? Or lack of fear
Yeah,
to
to just
step
go
into
in.
that situation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just make it happen. Which is kind of what I was going to tee into a little bit of conversation when we get there. But should we take a moment to give the absolute definitive, so you don't have to repeat it, you can just send them to this episode and we'll timestamp the shit for you, of the sweet potato story? Do you need to do that? Or do you want to just be like, nah, it's,
Damn, have we ever done it? Did we did it on the first one?
I don't think we've ever done
We
it.
didn't. We've never done it, huh? The origin story. John,
I don't think it's ever
it's ever been
been
publicly
officially
recorded.
done.
No, you don't have to. You can
Ooh.
lie about it. It could be,
Man, I've said it so much in the
Yeah,
last.
there's kind of two slightly different. I have a version and Dale has a version.
It has a different version of
There's-
everything.
there's two different
I know
versions,
Dale's
really.
because he says, I would actually like to hear
Yeah, I wanna
the
hear
Mackey
John's too.
version. Let's,
Well,
the Mackey origin story.
For me, the first discussion was he and I were at Chickasabogue. Same premise, Samba wasn't doing anything. We were going to Chickasabogue and cleaning trails, and that was when we started talking about just putting together a group ride.
Right.
And Dale's like, Sweet Potato Mountain Bike Crew, because of Willie bringing sweet potatoes to our group rides, our unofficial, non-affiliated with anything group rides. I think Dale was pretty much organizing those already anyways.
Right.
And then we're talking like, let's make this a thing. And so it became a thing.
So it's straightforward. It's
Yeah.
organic,
Yeah.
like a potato.
Yeah.
It's organic, and I never shut up. So I told everyone.
Yeah.
And then with
Still
his
do.
vinyl
still
cutter, and he made those first batch of stickers.
Yeah.
It all worked, would peel off real easy, but it just
They're
it
like,
worked.
they're like
It worked.
NFT
It was a
stickers
start.
now, though. They
It was a
exist
start.
one time.
Yeah, if you still have one of those stickers, it's worth money. It's gonna be.
I don't think anything
yet.
I have still has one of those on
I
it.
don't either. All of them fell off. Everything.
But they got the ball rolling. So
And I think, I mean, my story's not much different.
no, it's not much different.
Wasn't it casserole? I always heard it was sweet potato casserole.
No, my story was there was some jousting involved, and no, there wasn't. I'm just joking. No jousting.
Some dude throwing potatoes at your face.
Yeah. No, Willie is the godfather.
Yeah.
I always say that. Everybody,
Yeah.
Willie's kind of quiet and doesn't really talk much. He's Filipino. And he would roll up to group rides, even just within the last few months. He'd roll up and I'd be like, hey guys, this is the Godfather. Sweet Potato Mountain Bike Crew Godfather.
Right.
And then he's like, shut up, dude. Just stop.
He doesn't want to deal with it.
No, he loves it. I mean, but I don't think he wants to be the Godfather.
Right.
So he really brought casserole dish of cooked sweet potatoes with
Maybe
us.
that's where I got it.
Yeah.
Casserole dish.
Yeah, he brought a casserole dish and sat on the bed of his truck and was like, "Hey guys, you guys want a sweet potato?" And the first time I just looked at him like, "Is this for real?"
Right.
All right, cool.
And they were just straight baked, nothing on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, straight baked.
Just like, here's some carbs, go ride.
$3.50 for 1 hour. That's his recipe.
There you go.
Nothing else.
We need a shirt that says that $3.50 for 1 hour. Sweet potato mountain bike crew.
There you go. There's your next one. You can win that shirt. I'm just kidding. Like,
Tune in next
So
week.
that is pretty much the story. I think I kind of every time over the weekend I drink more and embellish some part of it. I'm sure, but that was kind of it.
Yeah, it all came from the same place.
And then it just kind of
rides
grew.
and
So
stuff.
I think COVID helped us in the growth because no one had anything else to do. So we'd host these group rides and we show up and, it was like I made up a bullshit story about join the legendary Sweet Potato Mountain Bike Crew as we ride Chickasaw Park.
But that's because somebody got an exemption, right? Because Chickasaw was closed.
Yeah, our
During
local
COVID, because it's a. By the way, it's a city-run park. Therefore, there's
County-
no one.
county-run.
County-run park. And during the shutdown, there was no one available during COVID to actually manage it. Hence, vis-a-vis.
Yeah, our local IMBA chapter, Samba. They
Yeah, at
pulled
that
the
point,
strings.
Samba had some changes had made.
Yeah,
and-
yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, we had joined Samba and became.
Yeah.
We infiltrated the Samba
Right.
hierarchy,
Right.
and we decided that we were
Became
going.
brotatoes.
Yeah, we became brotatoes. We figured we might as well make our sanction our trail work. How about that? Does that work?
Infiltrate from within.
Yeah, from
That's
within.
right.
That's right.
It's the old school World War II.
Well, no,
method.
and actually,
Some Valkyrie action happened.
because I told this story this weekend too. Like John and I were just doing our own thing. A couple other guys with us, and when I got approached to be on the board of Samba, I went to John and I said, "Dude, like, should I do this? Is it cool? Like, we're not about that life. Like, is it something that's going to ruin what we're building, or is it something that we could benefit from?"
Right.
And so we decided together that it was going to benefit all of us if we have somebody that actually cares about mountain biking on the board. And not that the other board members don't care. Don't get me wrong; they care a lot too. Sometimes to a fault of all of us, but we wanted somebody on the inside that could get tater logs where we want tater logs, right? We could get stuff that we want done, that the community wanted to see,
Right.
not just a certain specific group of people. So that was kind of where our mind was, and I wouldn't have done it without the support of my friends that were involved. I'm going to bring the rest of them with me, so we're just going to hostile takeover of the whole thing, and then we're going to have a big giant sweet potato throne that we set on at the top.
I think it'd be brilliant. You should get somebody should find an inflatable sweet potato so it can because you have a flag, but I think if you have that inflatable sweet potato,
We could just get
denying
one
it.
that is like a big blow up dick and spray paint it like orange, so it looks like a sweet potato or a turd. One of the big giant
You
turds.
need to find a
Find
giant
a turd.
turd, and then paint part of it orange so it looks like you cut it open.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Less offensive.
Less offensive. That's what we're after.
But yeah, so that was kind of the thing, and it's kind of how COVID helped us was no
Right.
one had anywhere else to go. Did the legendary Sweet Potato Mountain Bike Crew group ride. 25 people showed up, and I looked at John. I was like, "So do you know how to host a group ride? Because I have no clue what's going on."
Yeah.
Right.
And it was, "Hey guys," shaking hands, introducing everybody, and it just kind of grew from there. And every week, everybody always asks, "How do you become a Sweet Potato Mountain Bike Crew rider?" Well, do you have any felonies? And that question could go both ways.
That's right.
They say no, we're like, sorry. If they say yes, we're like, sorry.
Yeah,
We always say blood in, blood out, homie.
yeah, I get it.
So it's just a joke. There's no way to become a Sweet Potato Mountain Bike Crew. It's like a mindset.
Right.
But what did you say? You said it this week.
I just always say if you show up enough to get a sticker, you're I guess you're in.
That's right.
You're most
Yeah.
likely in.
You're most likely in. But be careful what you do and say because you're representing all of us.
That's right.
And I will cut you.
Well, it's also the community. I mean, it goes a long way. I mean, it's a deep-seated part. When the community had been somewhat splintered in some ways, this is lore that's been told to me from outside. These are statements I've observed outside of the brotato community. But outside of the potatoes, like people were saying stuff, like it was splintered, and this kind of helped, it unified a group. And so if nothing else, it caused a little bit of community, which is important. So instead of it being little, portions, it was like much bigger. It was a bigger picture. And I think that's an important part of any of that stuff. Like,
It just became very tribal.
yeah.
It was like, oh, you ride with them?
Right.
Like, yeah, we're not the Hells Angels. Jesus, come ride with us.
Right.
Like,
Right.
we're not, we want everyone to ride with us and every skill level. So that's how, I mean, essentially the Zero Drop podcast was started as a Zero Drop sweet potato ride.
Right.
And we didn't even know what Zero Drop meant. It just meant we're not going to leave anybody behind.
Right.
No,
The whole idea is just for it all to be fun.
That's right.
It is. I've been on a bunch of those rides, and they're a blast. Like, they're one of those things, if you have a chance to ride, it's a super fun time, and it's well worth putting in the effort to do it. I mean,
And
it's
I
fun.
joke about it, and I might have said it on the podcast before, but had somebody come up to me the other day and say, man, I really, really like the sweet potato rides. They're a lot of fun, but the Samba ride on Tuesday nights, it just doesn't not as fun. And I was like, that's awesome, but it's literally the same people.
Yeah.
Like, nobody different. It's the same people at both rides.
We're literally recording this on the night pre. We don't know if we're going to make it or not based on the
Yeah.
weather, but this is pre that sort of ride event.
Yeah.
And it's the same.
It's crazy.
Actually, Mackie showing up would be kind of new. We don't see you a lot on Tuesdays. Or
Yeah, I haven't been making it on Tuesday, but I did
don't
bring my
either.
bike, and
I brought mine too. We'll risk it.
yeah.
If we hold
Ride
out
or-
some garbage bags, we can like get pulled by the wind. Might
Straight
be
up
kinda fun.
ride or die.
Yeah,
Sounds like it's raining.
it probably is raining. My bike's out there just getting destroyed. Yeah, it's fine.
It's getting rinsed.
It probably needs it. God knows it needs it.
Cleanliness is next to godliness.
That's what they say. What I wanted to, I wanted to give because we always like to kind of have a little centered topic, and so we have the sort of what you guys experienced. But I was going to roll into the idea, and again, this is organic conversation. I have a couple of things I was going to ask. So again, John, if you don't want to talk about them, just give me the finger and I'll shut up about it. But I actually wanted to roll into the general idea of overcoming fear riding, right? And the only reason I'm bringing it up is because you'd had a challenge in your life when the thing came along. You gonna give me the middle finger?
Oh no.
Because all right,
No.
so can you tell that story? Because I think in a second, let me preface all this to say I think it's an important thing. You came back from something, right? It's not just an injury. That was a different scenario,
And not
right?
just something. And
I know. Well, I'm teasing it up. This is called the tee up. So my thing is like a lot of what I think people experience riding a bike is overcoming fear. The further they get into the sport, I feel like it's a level of fear, and eventually you hit a plateau of comfort. Some people chase that level of fear. There's guys that are constantly wanting to jump higher. Other Todd just wants to get higher and higher till somehow he is like a flying guy, just sending it, right?
Hey, Elon, come down from there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So there's those sides of things, and there's people chasing that. I'm constantly, for me, I want to chase speed. I want to be able to cut corners as fast as possible, knowing that my head could smash into a tree. Recently, Dale has decided that we need the most narrow trails on planet Earth, and so apparently he's with me on that agenda.
I'm
of
trying
like,
to slow y'all down.
yeah, yes. And so I think everybody chases that, but it's always a level of overcoming it. And the interesting thing that I've seen over and over and over and over again at the Reb, if we're using that as an example, there's not much to fear I guess if you go to the playground at South, but there's not much to fear at a trail system like South. Initially, there might be, but once you get used to it, is you watch people see this bug rug. And there's a video, if you guys want to see it, you can go check out the YouTube channel and watch the bug rug video. All of us in this room are in it, plus more. Actually, all the sweet potatoes plus more really is what it is. But if you go watch that, like that first feature is at the very head of our trail system. And most people, when they come out there, they will not take it the first time. They're scared. They back off. They're thinking about it. And then you can watch them slowly get more and more comfortable without any pressure. Because fear plus pressure doesn't really work out for most people. That's when you create a new, for some people. Some people excel, some people don't. And eventually they send it, and then they're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And then you see them, and they keep going and going and going and going and going, right? And so that level builds. So talking about fear, where I kind of want to go is how do you process fear? Because, again, you guys have been riding much longer than me. So my way of processing fear is completely different. I'm calling myself more noob. But how do you guys process fear? And I would like to start out with the biggest fear possible, which is getting back on the bike. And you do have a story. I mean, if you don't want to talk about it, it's cool, but I do think it's, to me, you recovered fast, and I found it very inspirational just when I think back on it, because, it was a crazy incident. Do you mind telling that story?
No, not at all. Christmas Day, me and my one of my sons, we went. We're just going out for a road ride. Parked over by Old Majestic Brewery, and then worked our way out Broad Street towards Brookley. Went out past there, and then went out towards Bayfront, Bayview.
Yeah, but that's all the Brookley Bayview area is kind of a known road riding area.
It's a known cycling route. And so we turned around and we just headed back to the car, and we're coming up, I think, the perimeter road. And we'd passed a car sitting on the side of the road. It was like in a driveway, and so we were just riding. We had blinking lights going, front and back, all of that, just to be safe. And we saw this car coming, and he kept getting closer and closer. I kept looking back, and he wasn't giving us any space. And I started telling Ian, well, you go ahead and get off, get over to the way far edge of the road. This guy's still not giving us any space.
Right.
And I was like, all right, let's just go ahead and get off the road. This guy's not giving us space. And before I knew it, he hit me. I went down. I think I hit both sides of my body on the front of his car.
Jesus.
And went down into the ditch. And then he drove right into my son as well. My son. He was right. I was riding clipped pedals, so it might be part of why mine went the way it did. When he hit my son went over the top of his car and landed on his back behind his car.
Good.
And he continued. The instinct, I guess, to jerk away from us never kicked in. He just continued right into the ditch.
Wow. You think it was like shock maybe at that point?
Maybe so. Maybe you just didn't know what to do.
Was he inebriated? Was there any kind of like DUI?
By the time the cops got there, they did test him. He did not check over. They did get him for negligence because he was on his phone.
Wow. That's like gut wrenching. Because I think every single person that's probably listening to this podcast is guilty from checking the gram once or twice. I'm not just looking at Dale. And checking the gram once or twice for that kind of stuff. Now, how did your son recover okay?
Yeah, he was fine. He mostly just had some road rash and stuff on his back.
Unreal.
So we got him home. My youngest son, he's an EMT, so he got him home and he cleaned him up really well. And then my wife took me to the hospital. And they ran me through the trauma unit at USA. I stayed in the hospital for till that was on Saturday. They discharged me on Monday.
Wow.
And then I was in a soft back brace for 6 weeks, and I'm still the ankle's still recovering.
Yeah. It takes a while. I get all that.
Yeah.
But from the side of it, it wasn't long after we heard the story of that. It didn't seem long. Time might have whipped by, but you were back on a bike relatively.
As soon as I got out of that back brace, I was ready to get on a bike.
Yeah. Okay.
So 6 weeks.
So how did you? Was there never a wall you ran into from a fear angle? How do you process that to say?
To be fair, I have not ridden on the road.
I don't blame you.
Since.
No, and then we were in Tallahassee, and I'm like, John, just go, and I'm like zipping across the 4-lane like busiest highway ever.
I never really felt
because
too
you
worried
were
there.
following me. You're like, Dale's going to get hit first. F it.
Well, they had a lot of islands and sidewalks, and then that's what we were. We weren't ever really directly riding.
Sketchy time. We were like half on the island, half in the lane.
Yeah, but you could. I don't know. That was all seemed pretty avoidable. We were never actually riding in traffic though.
I don't like that.
So yeah, but just getting back on the bike. I don't know. I didn't think twice about it.
So it was never like a thought process. Because I saw
bikes.
you come out. You rode the Reb, like you were out there sending it. And again,
and the video.
Yeah.
In the bug rug video.
In the bug rug video.
Yeah.
It's one of your first days back?
Yeah.
Jeez,
I
didn't know that. That makes that video 10 times cooler.
Yeah, and
he
couldn't
walk.
Goosebumps. He couldn't walk off the bike, but he could ride the bike. Like
right.
his foot, he was still like limping really
my
bad.
ankle's still a little funky, but it felt fine on the back on the bike because I don't know. So it's lower impact.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah.
My knees are arguing that point right now, but whatever.
So of course, like getting hit by a car is badass. Not badass is like I want to go do it, but badass that you're like here to tell us about it.
Yeah.
But tell them the owl story. I think that to me, like the car thing is crazy, but like I've been there with you for the owls a few times. So like, and I gave you the hat the day before, so it's even crazier.
That's right.
Yeah. So go ahead. I teed up.
All right. So there have been a few rides. Well, one ride, night ride at South in particular. I came around a corner and an owl just flew right into my chest.
What?
Yeah, just flew right into me. And then another night, me and Don were riding. We were back on MT at night, and he was ahead of me, and he stopped. And I caught up to him, and when I got up, there was an owl sitting on a limb, just maybe about a foot and a half over my head, just right there. And I was really excited about seeing it.
Oh
really,
my God.
really cool. And I started whispering, and as I was whispering, it just turned and looked me right in the face.
Oh my God.
And
there was
then
one during the daytime.
yeah, I mean, me and Dale were clearing trails one day. I think we were down on, I think we were somewhere in Bottoms.
Yeah.
And there were owls just flying around us that day. Well, the day that me and Ian got hit, there's some paved bike trails around the perimeter of the airfield.
Yep, the greenway that they've tried to put in. Yep.
And so we were just riding side by side, talking, and I looked up right as an owl sitting on the fence turned around, looked me right in the face, and it startled me. And my son saw it happen, and he jokingly said, "Dad, that owl knows when and how you're probably going to die."
Gets hit by a car.
And
5 minutes later.
not 5-10 minutes later, we got hit by a car. It was
Dude, the
kind of
day
trippy.
before, I gave him
Maybe
a hat.
it's just an omen.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a protector. Maybe it's the
That's
other way.
that's the conclusion I've come to. That's just maybe my spirit animal or something.
It's got to be. I mean, look, I believe what you want, but like that's a pretty hefty series of coincidences. And then what was your piece?
No, I gave him a hat the day before he got hit by a car that has like a guy that's ducking an owl. Like it had on the hat.
Unbelievable. Like
It's crazy.
there's no denying it.
No.
Maybe that was your hack for the fear side, is you were able to dodge it because you're like, these owls are
Maybe
fine.
he's Harry Potter. He's Hedwig. Hedwig just following him around.
I don't
everywhere.
even see. Wait a second, bro.
Oh,
Just straight
I
up, I'm out of that
Comic-Con you.
game. So
Oh,
you could play the Harry Potter game, and I would lose.
Oh man, what? Harry Potter was on our TV at the hotel this weekend.
I have no
That's
idea
right.
anything
We
about
started
it.
with the
Yeah.
first. We just let it play. We just left the
We-
TV on all day long.
Every time we came back in, Harry Potter was older, and then when we got back, it was a black and white. What movie was it? I forget what it was.
One of the
But I said, dude, we watched Harry Potter so much today, it's gone back. It's like reverted.
It's reverted back in time. That's crazy. I had no idea about all the owl stuff. That's wild.
yeah.
Dude, and the owl stuff was happening before the car accident.
Mm-hmm.
Like it
Yeah.
was. We even Googled it at one time just to see what it meant. Like it was deep.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. I mean, the fact that you bounced back from it, didn't have the fear, I think that attributes to the fact that, like, I've had a few wrecks, nothing major, but I've had a few wrecks, and enough that I've had, there's a little, I might not do that same jump again
Oh, yeah.
without building back up to it, right?
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I've never had the kill switch kick in where I'm like, I'm not riding anymore. Except if I go back, I rode in my 20s a lot. I rode on a hardtail because there wasn't a lot of full sus back then was way expensive.
Yeah.
I'm 43 to date myself.
They weren't that great for cross.
They weren't that great,
stuff
right?
at the time either.
And so riding Providence, which is the old trail system here, riding a lot of Providence, and my grips had worn down from doing stupid stuff, and I went over and I OTB'd, and the bar turned and it cut my nipple out.
Oh,
It hit me dead center in the nipple, and it hit so hard, knocked the wind out, and then cut it out, and I'm bleeding. I mean, it was blood all over my shirt. And for whatever reason, that was enough that like that pain and that trauma for me, I was off. I got off the bike, and I loved riding. My mom will tell stories like me growing up. I was always on a bike, and so it shut me down. And it took a long time. I had no problem. I've never forgotten how to ride.
yeah.
But I couldn't get past it, and that was way less trauma, right?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know, man.
that
sounds-
I had my nipple ripped off. You got hit by a car. If we're standing by, we're single gentlemen, and you're like, this dude got hit by a car, and I'm like, I have my nipple ripped off. Who do you think they're gonna be attracted to? The car hit guy. You're not gonna like nipple rip, dude.
Well, we
they're
always,
like-
we always have like discussions about like every bike gang has the nickname for everybody in the bike
Right,
gang.
right.
So like John is now Jaguar Fighter.
That's
Like
awesome.
he has to be.
Yeah.
It's just mandatory. And Trey made up my team name. My name is Team Mom.
Right.
Because I organize everything and bring the
You
drinks.
do definitely bring that level of
The
it. How do you
team
process fear? Because yours is a different level when you talk about, and I don't know your athletic history, but obviously Dale's is
Yeah, I'm not. I never really played team sports and stuff like that. I'm not a super competitive. Athlete
Processing
in any way.
fear for me is different though, because it's like if there's a fear involved, like I at least want to try it.
right.
Like I want to see where that bar is.
Yeah, you're chasing it.
Yeah, I want to see where I can push it to, and then if I'm not scared of something, that's when I get hurt.
Right.
Does that make sense? Like if I get loose and I'm like, oh, this is easy,
Right.
then I'll get hurt. But
you
if
get
I
careless.
if I get careless or if I trigger it in my mind, like all right, Dale, be scared of this.
Right.
It's good. But you'll see me a lot of times, we'll be riding or something, we'll stop and I'll look at something and everybody's like, what are you looking at? And I'll back up to go hit it. And they're like, dude, you even said it at one of the videos we were doing. You're like, dude, don't get hurt for this video. Like, it's not worth it.
It was like
and I
a
was
big
jumping
sin.
through those twin oaks. So you're like, dude, it's not worth it. I'm like,
Right.
no, but now I want to.
Right.
You know, like, turn the cameras off. I don't care. I'm going to do it.
Right.
So I think it's...
But the camera stayed on.
Of course the camera stayed on. I do everything for the gram, Drew.
That was like one of the first days I met you, and you were straight grabbing it.
Yeah. You look at it and it's like, hey, man, he just brings his kids to film him, so he's doing stuff. He hides behind the guys that his kids have their own YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Like, why is your kids' YouTube channel just you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little creep.
I'm all over the gram. But, so, the fear thing is a legit... I mean, there's people that are afraid to just get on the bike. And I think that the other thing that's fearful is clipless pedals. I see so many people that are like, I'm scared to ride clipless pedals because I might fall over.
Right.
Or you might fall over on flat pedals too. Just
Oh, yeah.
so
Listen, I
running.
go OTB, and I'm flat pedaler. I
Right.
go all over the place.
But I feel like, and John, you ride clipless too, so you can attest to this. I feel like the benefits that you get from riding clipless pedals greatly outweigh the risk of riding the clipless pedals.
A lot of people say, I mean, downhillers riding clipped in. I mean, there's no free riders, maybe not, but a lot of the downhill racing, if you watch that, they're clipped in. I mean, that's
Yeah,
I get
because
it.
if you're going that fast, you want to be attached to the bike.
Right.
And I can probably get off my clipless pedals faster than you can get off your flat pedals. Like, it's just because I have to think about it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't anymore. It's not conscious.
Right.
But, like, you don't have to think about it. Your foot's not attached.
Right.
So, like, consciously, it's just unclip, boom, done.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny, though, to watch people that just start riding clipless pedals when they come to the parking lot. Like, they're fine on the trail. They come to the parking lot and they're like a new horse that just was born, you know.
Right.
They go to they don't know when to put their foot down or when to take it off, and sometimes it's hard and it's awesome. But I think that's a fear, though. Like, just getting in the clipless pedals is a fear.
Right.
And I think clipless pedals are like a progression of the sport. You know, the first year I raced, I made a T-shirt that said flat pedaler, and it looked like a globe, you know, like flat earther. So I never wanted to go to clipless. I thought it was stupid. I thought if I went to clipless, my pants would get tighter and my shirt would get tighter, and I'd be in spandex shortly after.
Spandex. All spandex.
Spandex. And I didn't want to.
Yeah.
So once I did, though, I'll never go back. Like, I feel more comfortable on the bike with them now.
No, I get it. I just think it's anything on the bike is fear. All of it's fear based. It's just a level of fear that you're comfortable with, and some people are their comfort zone is chasing that fear. Like I was saying earlier. So like
Without fear, though, everyone would do it.
That's exactly right.
And then it would be the trails would be full of everyone.
But there are some cautionary moments to be a risk averse human being for 1 second, and that is like I do get a little nervous at times when I see people just blind send trails. Like, that is fun as hell. That's my favorite thing to do too.
Yeah.
But like, kind of scout. Like, I'll at least know what I'm getting into a little bit, because I say that. But I'm talking about full send down. That can be a little sketch. And I've seen people do it at our property. The other side of this, too, is you don't know the conditions of the trail. No. That's the bigger scare. The bigger thing for me isn't the fear of, like, you crash your bike. Yeah, that's going to happen. You sent it. You know, like, I mean, sometimes there's some real scary stuff. But in some cases, the storms and other conditions that could occur, and suddenly there's something down you don't see coming around that corner. You're talking about some legitimate awfulness. Yeah, and so I think...
It was funny this weekend. There was a trail called Wally World in Tallahassee, and it said, "Look before you leap." Is that what it said?
Oh yeah.
Look before you leap. Yep. I just dropped in. There was a tabletop. I launched it, hit this wooden wall. About halfway on the wall, I was like, "John, we look before we leap. Let's go back and do it again." Like, I'm halfway on the wall.
We considered the first one the look.
Yeah, the look was the first one. The second one was the launch.
It was the same thing like at Bochito, hitting that stuff. You go down it the first time and you're having fun. Because we're all chasing. We've talked about it on every episode we mentioned. We're all chasing that first ride, that heroin.
Yep.
But then when you do it the second, third time, that's when it kicks in. And that's when, for me, like, I'll hit the first one and I'll be like, man, that was great. I'm going to do it again. And then the fear starts coming to me.
Yeah.
The first one, there's no fear because I don't know what the hell the conditions are that I'm going into. It's that second and third one. And then usually 4 or 5, I'm pretty good. I'm getting more comfortable. Not careless, but on that verge. So is there any sort of, do you guys have any tip? If you're giving anybody a thing that they're not listening to this if they need to get back on the bike. Chances are, right? They're already on the bike.
Because I beat the shit out of them this weekend and told them to listen to Ride the Rebellion.
That's probably right. Shout out to all the whole Sorba convention. Shout out right now. You're all involved.
I love all of you.
Yeah, straight up.
If you missed the buffet Saturday night, It's your fault.
That's right.
I sponsored it
With somebody else's money.
That's how we do things, though. It's resources.
That's right. You're right. Do you guys have any kind of throw? Is there any kind of throw you would throw in there, like tip wise?
To get back on the bike?
Yeah, or just to get your brain in the game?
Because I separated my shoulder, so I had to get off that mental block.
Yeah. How do you get past that mental block?
Just ride.
Right.
I mean, that's all it was. It was like, remember I told John, I was like, I'm going to ride my hardtail so I don't do anything stupid. Because I thought if on this bike, it'll be limited to what I can and can't do.
Yeah, that didn't last.
It didn't last at all, did it? It was like 40 miles of my hardtail in a 1 week, and I was like, dude, I just took my brace off. I'm just going to go shred this stuff.
Right.
See what happens.
Right.
I went to the doctor to get released, and he was like, have you been riding? And like stared me right in the eyes, and I was like, no, yes. And he was like, well, just don't get hurt. You know, your shoulder's gonna be screwed if you do. And I'm like, well, it's already screwed, so what am I gonna do?
Right.
So yeah, I think this is a valid question, though. I just don't know that I have the right answer.
I don't think anybody does.
Nobody
have a good
does.
answer either.
I think that's kind of, I didn't know yours was that strong to like get that brace off and go, but I don't think there is an answer. I think that the true mental block, the overcoming the mental block, is that day you get on the bike. Right? And as soon as you get on the bike, doesn't matter what you're doing. You could ride around your neighborhood on the sidewalk single track for safety.
I love that.
Right, I do too. But you might ride that first. But whatever it is, that's going to break that. I mean, I think it's the smallest little thing will break a mental block more than, we're not talking about sending crazy, but I think that breaks it better than anything else will.
Yeah.
I think,
like
yeah.
just get back on.
Just get back on.
pedal. And I think, though, the hardest part is where, like, it's the same thing I go to like get over that fear that I go to when I'm in super amounts of pain while I'm riding.
Right.
Like I call myself all kinds of names like out loud.
Right.
If I'm during a race or if I'm trying to push
Same here.
further, like I say words that like I should probably go to church for just to get myself through it. And I mean, if
I'm not
anybody
even
heard
Catholic, and I go confess after my race.
yeah. If anybody heard me, they'd be like, "What is he talking about?"
Right.
But it's the same stuff I tell myself before. Well, because I grew up with coaches that would tell me that stuff.
Right.
So like, if I don't have a coach, who's the coach? I'm the coach.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe if I had a coach, I'd be better. But
I don't know. Just a way to just kind of approach it.
yeah.
I mean, we can all say that each one of us is lucky because we have the ability to get back on the bike. And speaking of luck, let me just shamelessly plug into, you like that segue? That's just for
That was
Shannon.
awesome.
Man, we're a segue.
We're going to shout out to our sponsor this week, every week, Lucky Shot Coffee. And you can hear it. I have a delicious bag of Lucky Shot coffee that I'm willing to send to someone. I don't care where you are, actually. We'll ship it at our own expense. With
we
a
have
sweet
listeners
potato
in
sticker.
the UK.
Yeah, we'll send it. I'll have to VAT this. I don't know how it's going to work when I used a VAT or whatever you have to do to send crap to the UK.
We're
going to send this coffee. It is delicious coffee. This is the definition of hand roasted coffee, right? Small batch, air roasted, but it's handmade, handcrafted, small batch. There's this bag and there's probably 6 more, and then she'll have to make more. Point being, it's legit good coffee. You've heard me talk about it. We love it. So we're going to give some away. I have no idea. I don't know. What is your tip for fear? Like to get over fear? Should we do that? Like, what's the best mental block tip? And we'll pick one and read it on the air.
Good. Yeah.
What is your to win this coffee? And you'll get some. Do we have any? We'll get some stickers by then. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have stickers.
We'll give you some stickers too. Like you might get a craft show sticker. You'll get a Ride the Rebellion sticker. You might get a Rocket Balls.
How about you get a sticker pack?
Yeah, you get a sticker pack.
There you go.
There you go. Dale's smarter than me. You get a sticker pack plus
stickers, bro.
You sell a lot of stickers. Plus you'll get this delicious bag of Lucky Shot coffee. That will happen. So all you have to do is comment anywhere. Yeah. Facebook. I guess you could do it in review too, but anywhere you want, if you just give us a comment and basically tell us what your method is.
Leave a voicemail.
Or get over. If the voicemail works, I don't know if it works. I tried it once, it didn't work.
Oh, it didn't? But the link worked for me.
Did you leave one?
No, I'm not leaving one. You could listen to myself talk.
Yes. Yeah, you do it all the time.
True. Actually, and everybody that was there this weekend did too.
So that's our prize for this week. You can get your hands on this episode. You can get your hands on a delicious bag of Lucky Shot coffee plus a custom sticker pack that has some like super awesome stuff. They might even get a Douche sticker.
Ooh,
that's some underground stuff.
That is underground.
So we might throw that all together and give it to you guys. Is there anything else we need to talk about?
No, just ride.
Yeah, just ride.
I think, lastly, a thing that can overcome fear is ride with other people that
That's
are
very
fearless.
True. Right.
Because people will lead you to do things that you would never do by yourself.
That's true. Get towed.
Yeah. Get towed. Hey, the last thing I do want to talk about, remember how I told my wife would only listen to half a podcast by herself? Well, this week, I told her today that I had her postage.
That's pretty great.
It's hostage, but she couldn't go anywhere.
She listened to the whole podcast?
No.
She listened to all. She's caught up.
Oh.
We drove to Fairhope. She's like, made her listen to all of them. And I said, all right, so my wife she's a straight shooter when it comes to how much she hates everything I do.
Right.
John knows, you know.
Yeah.
How
She
many
doesn't
times-
hold back.
She doesn't hold back.
Yeah.
We do a Sunday morning drink-a-thon after we run. It's
Right.
called Holla at the Dollar. Shout out Aaron and Run and Try. But
Soon to be a sponsor.
soon to be. Yes.
For some reason.
Aaron, just get on. He just wants to come on.
Yeah, we should just bring him on for no. Aaron, how do we run better on our bikes?
Actually, speaking of that, another sidebar. We're sidebarred on sidebars right now.
Yeah, that's fine.
I let Aaron.
It's like a mini bar.
I let Aaron borrow my hardtail for a duathlon we did last year.
Yeah.
And he beat me
No
on my own
joke.
bike. And he doesn't ride bikes.
Snap.
That was dirty.
Maybe there's something to that running thing after
Actually,
all.
why are we friends, Aaron? Anyway, so we do a thing on Sunday mornings. We'll run with Aaron and the crew, and then we'll go back to my porch, and John and I will drink and just play music and try to guess what song it is. And we can't buy beer till what? Noon.
Yeah.
At like 4, we realize, oh wow, we can go buy beer already.
Right.
After we've drank everything I have.
Right.
So my wife hates us for that.
Right.
But so she gave me we're all the way back. So she gave me an honest review of the podcast, and she said, look, I don't like mountain biking. It's kind of stupid. Actually, really stupid. But the podcast is like not something that I would turn off because I'm excited to hear what you guys are going to say next.
Right.
Like, I never know what you're going to say. And I was
Right.
like, well, I also think you're trying to get ammo. So you're waiting for me to say something that you could ground me for.
Yeah, of course.
Which that's probably always a tease.
And her liking it tees up when she comes to you to be like, oh, by the way, I just spent, whatever on some Pinterest items.
Yeah. Well, technically, it's her money. I don't work, so.
Never mind. Dale holds no cards. Welcome to the podcast where Dale holds 0 cards.
I'm a professional disher.
It's the 0 drop, 0 card holding podcast.
I do the dishes and fold laundry like a mofo.
Yeah, that's fine.
I got the KOMs of all of it.
Oh my god! All right. On that note, make sure your KLMs with your wife are up to par,
Share
or your
us.
partner.
Like us. Oh, vote for us on the nappy.
Oh yeah, just say that. Yeah, while this is still relevant, we only have a couple of days.
Yeah, probably. Might
vote
come
for
out
us on
right
the
there.
nappies. You can vote for me too, but vote for best podcast,
Best
Yes.
local podcast.
best local podcast. Ride the Rebellion. It's on the nappies. Vote for us. Hey, even if you're not in the state, we would love your help. Just go to votenappies.com and then look under. I think it's under media. Look for, or social, one of the two, but look for the best local podcast. And if you're bored and you want to fancy a vote for me, I'll take one as best local filmmaker. Whatever that means, I don't know, but I use it to get more work. Which
If you can
means-
find it in there, best local homemaker, that would be me.
Oh my God. All right, John
Looking for-
Mackey, thank you for
looking for
joining
right,
us for the show. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. First official guest with like we got to top his stories now. 'Cause he's got
No,
like
he
epic
can't.
shit.
We can't. That was awesome.
That was good. Anything else?
No, we're good.
I'm going to hit the button.
Let's ride.
Okay, button.
Bye.